Hey guys, this is Nisha, and I have a special announcement to make before the episode gets started. On this episode, Kate and I were joined by Jeff Trammell, who's the head writer and story editor on Cartoon Network's Craig of the Creek, one of my favorite shows, I might add. Jeff didn't get a chance to mention it on this episode, but this Saturday, June 22nd, which if you're listening to this episode when it is published, that'll be tomorrow. So Saturday, June 22nd at 9 a.m., Craig of the Creek will have its first half-hour special, and you do not want to miss out on this. So be sure to tune in and watch The Other Side this Saturday on Cartoon Network or on the Cartoon Network app. Okay, now let's get on with our anime show.
Did You Have To is a proud member of the But Why Though podcast community.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Did You Have To, the podcast where we talk about the live action adaptations of your favorite animations. As always, I'm Kate.
And I'm Nisha. And we're also joined by a special guest, Jeff Trammell. Jeff, tell the people who you are.
I'm Jeff Trammell. I am the head writer or story editor for Craig of the Creek on Cartoon Network. And I am also an animation writer. So as a writer of animation who loves anime, this podcast is going to be very fun.
Yes. So excited to have you on. One, because it checks off another podcast for your list for 2019. But also because, I think we've nerded out on Twitter about, anime from time to time.
Yes.
I mean, that's very on brand for me anyways. So that's the fun of it.
I mean, nerding out about anime is 99.9% of the show. And then the 0.1 is thirst tweets, but podcast form.
Okay. I can get down with all of that, actually. So great. Thanks for having me.
That's pretty much our brand. This is why me and Kate, we're slowly exposing ourselves. Me and Kate, we find in each episode, we're we didn't create a podcast to just talk about anime and thirst together. Who would listen to that show?
So, what are you guys thirsting? Because, so I was I'm going to be on here. I should listen to something. So I listened to part of the Godzilla one. Are you guys, thirsting for Mothra?
No.
Okay. I got it.
No, but this is where the thirst comes into play. Nisha is Mothra in need of her big boy Godzilla.
Yes.
Like a big Winston Duke Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is exactly what she's looking for.
I feel so seen right now.
We were at South by together at the Us Q&A, and I had to be no, sit down. You're gonna get taken away. You can't go onto the stage, Nisha. I know Winston is there. I see his thighs too, but you cannot rush the stage.
For the record, it was just fate that I got to be closer than Kate.
Fate.
At the interview. Yes, fate. I was 2 rows away from
She
the front.
totally didn't throw any bows or anything.
Nope. I didn't do none of that. I was well behaved at South by. We're not going to get into that, Kate.
Yes, she was perfectly well behaved. Anime wink wink.
Yeah, you can tell me off mic.
Yeah. That is a story that people can listen on to the Patreon podcast.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna put them behind paywalls.
I'm gonna subscribe to that just to hear that story.
That's the point.
All right, you got it.
All right. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. We were excited to have you here, excited to talk about today's episode topic. But before we do that, let's jump into crunch time.
I can lead today.
Okay.
So I started watching an older anime. I guess older is relative. I don't know. Dara. Have you heard of that before?
Is it the one with the girl who's on the motorbike who's
without a head?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I never know how to say it, but yes.
Yeah. She's technically a fairy type thing, not really a fairy type thing. A scientist stole her head and they're getting her head. I don't know what the hell is happening, but I like it. That's really all I have to say. The animation is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack is kick-ass. Story, like any other anime story, is very convoluted. I don't know what's happening. I still don't know who the main character is. I am 13, 14 episodes in. But I'm with it, and I'm gonna stay here with it because there's a lot of action scenes.
Yep. That I love that when it came on Adult Swim, because there is a lot going on, and when you realize you're dealing with the headless horseman fairy type, and then like also there's like this gang war going on in the background.
Oh yeah. I also had no idea that this was on Adult Swim.
Oh yeah, it was on Adult Swim. Like, and then you watching it on Netflix?
No, I'm watching. I guess I'm watching Dora X2 or whatever on Crunchyroll.
Oh, that's the sequel. There's the original.
Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna go and watch Dora on Netflix and then come back to maybe that's why I'm so confused.
Yeah, the first one sets up a lot of this and explains like who's Celti and like what's up with this weird scientist dude that's in love with her, but then also all these gang leaders who like, we're the yellow gang, and I'm just like, what is going on? But it's also very beautifully drawn, and I love the giant man who throws like things. Like,
you love a giant man?
Thank you for saying it, Jeff. Thank you. Some words.
Let me live. Let me live, goddammit.
You have a brand, Neysha.
I do have a brand, but I also relate to him because he gets super angry and like picks up a light pole. How do you... The scene where he just punches somebody out of his clothes.
Damn.
Yeah.
As you do in an anime.
As you do in an anime, but it is hilariously like illustrated. So I enjoy the fight scenes in Giant Men. But anyways, this is not about me. Okay, thanks for sharing that one, Kate. So for me, I have been watching Black Clover. I think Kate, you're familiar with this one.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of this one.
Yes. Ooh, it is a good one. So I love like anything that's more like magicians, mages, fairy tales, all that kind of stuff with anime form. And so I've been really enjoying it. This one tells a story like, it's like, what's his name? Asta, and I can't remember the other boy's name. Just so since the story centers around Asta, a young boy seemingly born without any magic power, something that's like unheard of in their world because literally everyone is born with power. But one day he's able to like summon this sword. And it's like his power is negating magic, whereas like his adopted brother that he grew up with, he's like been destined to. People think he's destined to become the next, Wizard King. So it's kind of I like it. It's a lot of action, but then the fight scenes are really cool, and it's a really good shonen. So I'm already sold for it.
Yeah, I heard that it was really good. So I have it on my watch list. I watched the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those shows that I actually stopped. I didn't watch past the first episode because I was like, oh, I'm going to get sucked in.
Yup.
I can't go down this hole right now.
I think we all like have that problem with anime of like, do I start this new series that has 80 episodes or do I go watch Cowboy Bebop for the 2011th time? Because can you deal with another obsession in your life? These are important questions.
They really are. Like, I watched Darlie and the Franxx in one sitting because I just didn't turn it off. And I was like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, well, Darling and Franxx in itself is something that...
It's something else, but it grabs you.
I don't know what that is. Can you guys tell me what this is?
Yeah. So Darling and the Franxx is a mecha anime.
Okay.
It is in a post-apocalyptic world where all the people are held in like little like geosphere type things. And ultimately, kids are the only beings that can pilot these the mechs, but it has to be in a male and a female pairing. And so it's like borderline ecchi.
Yeah.
Like the girls have handles on their sides and like go down into like the mech, kind of like a bike almost.
Okay.
And then like the guys like steer them and pilot them, and it's kind of like drift compatibility almost. And essentially once they hit puberty, they can no longer pilot them anymore. Excuse me.
Is that because they're aware of the situation and they're like, this is so sexual, I can't handle it?
That is part of the problems that arise later, because you learn that, and it's not a huge spoiler, but like most of the adults around them don't have those feelings anymore. Like they don't see the point,
emotions or anything like that.
Like they see the point. They like having a like partner, but they don't have any desire to be with them romantically or sexually. Whereas like the kids are like on the edge of puberty, and it's just like, why does my heart speed up? And why am I blushing when he looks at me?
Yep.
And then it's like, it causes all this confusion and feelings and then jealousy. So like on the deeper side of it, it's really great to like see how like these kids are exploring like their coming of age and like their attraction and like feelings that basically people have told them like there's no point in sexual reproduction anymore.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be an adult because then I'll be able to live in the adult city, and that's the best thing about being an adult. And then it gets creepy-er because then there's this person named Father that it's like Professor X but bad. I
was gonna say he's pretty bad.
yeah. I'm like, but badder. Like, Father does not care. And then there's like twists and stuff. So I recommend it.
I kind of want to watch this. Yeah,
I actually really like it. They have a dub and a sub. I really like the dub. The voices are really good.
Yeah,
and it was something that like it's beautifully drawn, and there's like a lot of cringe, but there's also really good storytelling in it too. Like I really, really love it. But it's a ride. It's a ride.
Yeah, you just gonna have to like just push through some stuff. Like when we say that like the positions of how the kids are driving the robots will make you cringe a bit, it's gonna make you cringe. And then I think the other
you get used to it too after a while. Like if I did say like the first time you see them pilot the mechs, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
And then it gets less bad.
Yeah. And I think like once I got past that part, it was more about like, okay, it's interesting to see how these kids are like dealing with puberty and like all these other things where like you live in a world where the adults basically think of it as taboo. But then also like it kind of like for some reason it reminds me of the Good Place in a way because they're isolated.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And they do have a full on like Lord of the Rings moment too.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Lord of the Rings, sorry. Lord of the Flies. Totally.
Yes.
Lord of the Flies. Like a few episodes, like a little Lord of the Flies arc. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to check this out. I know that's not like the desired reason of why this conversation's happening, but thank you.
No problem. So, Jeff, did you have any anime that you would like to recommend or suggest?
Yes, I've been watching Tiger Mask W, which is a wrestling anime. I'm super into pro wrestling, and this takes place actually in Japan, and there's like this evil corporation that may or may not be an analog for the WWE, and then there's like a good guy corporation, which is New Japan Wrestling, which is an actual wrestling company, and their wrestlers pop up in this anime. So it's really cool. I think some of them even like play themselves. The action's incredible because anime is always awesome, but especially like with physical stuff like martial arts and stuff like that. So they can really push the wrestling. It feels brutal and cool. And the story is really like fun and sweet. So there's like your basic protagonist and the sidekick and like his enemy who was his best friend kind of rival thing, So I highly recommend it to anyone who likes just kind of physical contact or wrestling type stuff like that, or just that anime in general. It's pretty cool.
I Googled it real quick, and this dude looks like King from Tekken. So
yes, yep, he wears a mask.
Totally in.
The cool thing is, there's a wrestler named Kota Ibushi who performs as Tiger Mask from time to time.
Oh.
So he wears that mask and will go do shows.
That's cool. Okay, I'm excited.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, that's fun.
I don't think I've ever that's a new anime genre for me, like wrestling anime, or I haven't delved into it yet. So
if you check it out, yeah, of course. If you guys check it out, let me know what you think.
Cool.
Most definitely. So this is where we move into the meat of our show, and we are going to be talking about the live action adaptation Netflix original Mob Psycho 100.
Yep.
So as always, what is our background with the shows?
So my background is, it really is, again, how most anime comes into my life. Adult Swim, but then also Twitter.
Mm.
So I had not heard anything about it until like I saw like a lot of people talking and like putting up like video clips of it on Twitter. Like I had no knowledge about it like maybe 6 months ago.
Huh. Yeah, I've seen it's always on like the front page of Crunchyroll because I think they like simulcast it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had cable for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I haven't had cable for 7 years. I stream everything. So I don't know. Like the only time I watch Adult Swim is when we're like traveling at conventions and we need to put something on the TV at a hotel. But I've seen it all over, like all on Crunchy on the front page. I've seen it all over Twitter and it looked really interesting. And I didn't realize until I went to go sit down and watch the show on Netflix that I had actually tried to start watching it. But we'll get into that later. Because I tried to start watching it before.
Okay. I found out about it online as well. I think from people posting clips. Someone posted a clip of some fight from season 2 that I'm not going to talk about, but it was like so well animated and so different for like. Without spoilers, there's a person who teleports, and it's that fight, and it's such an interesting take on a teleportation fight that I had never seen before. Because often I feel like people who teleport is basically just like, I'm here, now I'm across the room. And it's kind of like they never really use it to the full extent of its abilities. I think, in my opinion, the best it's been used is probably Nightcrawler in that opening of X-Men 2.
Oh yeah.
So like it was like better than that. It was animated beautifully. So I was like, I need to watch this show. But another show that I have been like seeing a lot about was My Hero Academia. So I did a poll on Twitter and asked a bunch of people which one I should watch, and Mob won. So I was like, okay, I'll watch Mob. So I watched Mob maybe 3 months ago and was blown away. Like it's so good, it's so funny, it's so like so much action, but also like just the comedy top notch. So that's kind of how I found about it.
Nice.
That's really cool. That actually sounds really good. I really love teleportation as a power set, especially like reading comics and stuff, and even just like in games. Like and so like that, knowing that that's in the anime, I want to see it in the anime so much. So I want to see what it looks like because I haven't watched the anime at all.
Yeah, I binged the anime. I should have mentioned that. I binged that thing, and I really enjoyed the anime. Like after I found out it was on Adult Swim, but then also it was on Crunchyroll. It's very easy to just like get into. Like it's not like, well, I think because I think it's like what the first season's 12 episodes or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so it's easy to get into and then be like invested into the story, but it's not like very overwhelming either as far as like 24 episodes, and if you miss one, you don't know what's going on. So I think that's probably like a really good benefit, like a good like pro of the show, of the anime. But also I was going to read this summary for people who aren't familiar with Mob Psycho 100. It tells the story of Shigeo Kageyama, who is an average middle school boy called Mob for lacking a sense of presence, although seems like an inconspicuous person. He is in fact a powerful esper. As he grows older, Mob realizes his psychic power is dangerous. To avoid the power getting out of control, he constantly lives a life under emotional shackles. Mob wants to live just like others, but a barrage of trouble comes to him. With the suppressed emotions growing inside Mob, little by little, his power threatens to overwhelm him and spill out of bounds. Thank you, Wikipedia. I hope y'all know I did not like that. Was not off the dome.
I would have thought it was.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. You give me too much. You are the writer here, not I. But yeah, no, and I think that's a good summary of like what Mob is, because I like the anime. I think what got me is that Mob is not like, I feel like anime has so many protagonist types, but I really like that he isn't like this super, like, I don't want to say like super confident. That's a bad thing. He's not egotistical. He's not like, but that's like part of the story with him. Like in the point of the show is that just because he has these powers, he doesn't see himself as any special and any more special than anyone else. But he's also trying to just like, he wants to have a normal life because he feels like his powers are bad or like, and he doesn't want to misuse them either.
Yeah.
So
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the things, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but there's a manga and anime called The Disastrous Life of Psyche K,
Nope.
or Psychic, essentially. That's how it's spelled. And he's this pink-haired dude who is so uber powerful that when he came out with pink hair, he telepathically made the entire world so that weird hair colors were the standard, so he wouldn't be like bullied in school.
Is this the boy with the antennas on his head?
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen this. Sorry, that's how I have to identify anime. It's just like this one.
So it was one of those things when I was watching the Netflix series. Obviously, I haven't seen the anime, but like listening to you describe the anime synopsis, which I think looks a little bit different in live action, but watching the live action, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get this. And like my reference point is Psyche, just because Psyche is the exact opposite. Like he's super like everything that I do is perfect and my telepathy makes me God and I do this but he's still trying to hide it from those around him because he doesn't want to let them know that he has this and that he's controlling everything. But like he's like a very inflated sense of self versus like Mob. So it was kind of like that was one of the things that popped into my head when I was watching it.
That's a good connect. Like that's a good like comparison, I would say. No, from the few episodes I've watched of that one.
I gotta watch that too. I'm going away leaving this podcast with a lot of homework. I don't mind.
They do have one season in English on Netflix, and then a second season sub on Netflix too.
Sweet. When you were talking about Mob, LaNeysha, the thing that it didn't click until you were saying it, but he's a very reactive character in the sense that you have to push him to a limit until he does something, which he's very much, to anyone who hasn't seen the show, he's very much like Gohan from Dragon Ball Z.
True.
He's like, he's just living his life, and then like if you push him too far, he snaps. And I think that's interesting because usually a reactive character like that isn't great for stories because they're not doing anything, they're kind of just sitting around and stuff happens to them. So I think it's really interesting that they figured out a way to make this work. But even now that I'm thinking about it, like the person who pushes him along is Reagan. So I guess because he's so reactive, you need a Reagan type to guide him into stories. But yeah, it's just really interesting to make a character that's not confident in themselves and very like reclusive,
Yeah. I like the both comparisons. So it's like definitely I see Gohan in him where it's like, Gohan as we know him today is just like very much the passive type where he'd rather not fight if he doesn't have to fight. And that definitely is Shigeo where he's like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to use my powers to hurt you. If I use my powers, I'll hurt you and that'll be bad and I shouldn't do that. Like my teacher told me. And I'm like, oh, you sweet little baby. Like, no, fight them with your powers because you're going to die if you don't. And that's like, there's so many parts like in the anime. I'm like, will you use your powers, please? So you don't die. But it's like, it does take, and like, that's kind of the point. Cause like throughout the anime series, just to give y'all more, like the listeners more information, it's like, there's like a counter almost going on like with the audience. But it's kind of like internally, it's like this, I guess this, I'm trying to think of like a ticker in Mob where like once he gets to 100, that's when his power like overflows in him and he loses control. But then it's like his power subconsciously takes over and he's not like, I still don't understand how it works. I need to watch season 2, but from what I understand, it's kind of like his avatar state kicks in.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's what it looks like. Even it's just like he just glows like this ethereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this white light and glows around him. He's all powerful, like he's god tier, and he's able to like stop the rain and make it flow upwards and take apart a building. But then, like when he's breaking down from like, oh shoot, I did it again, I lost control. Subconsciously, he's able to make his powers like fix everything back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, he's like the super powerful character, but he has no desire to like use his powers in any way that gets him personal gain. So yeah, that's Mob. I was just trying to think. Sorry, like I enjoyed y'all comparisons on the characters. So like that's kind of like the. I mean, we'll get into like what the whole series is and everything. I mean, we're gonna kind of like go along with that as we discuss the live action. But let's get into that. So y'all, I know we talked about it offline, but how many episodes did y'all get into for the live action that's on Netflix?
I can start. I watched 6, and then I went back and watched the first 2, and then I decided to watch 7, but then I was like, oh no, I have to watch 6 because I'm not going to remember anything going into 7. And then we recorded. So that's where I'm at.
Gotcha. Nice.
I watched 4 because I work so hard, guys. No.
No, that is valid.
I got to it last night and I started watching them. I just binged like 4 and then I stopped myself. But I'll get into why. But I watched 4.
Okay. I watched 6 also. I kind of just did the first 3 and then I watched the last 3. Mainly, I guess another we should mention. So the live action adaptation that's on Netflix is a series. So it is just like a 30-minute episodic series, just like the anime. So that's why it may take a little bit longer to get through than watching a 2-hour movie. But I will say that I think they made the right move by making this a series versus making a movie. Just because of like how much it would have been to like try to fit this all into one episode. I mean, into one movie.
Yeah.
Also subtitle, just so everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
It's subtitle.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was hard.
that does add another layer of it because I don't know. I didn't even check and see if there was like you know how like now some of the Japanese live actions have a voiceover.
There isn't. Okay. I checked.
And it would just distract me.
And I say it's hard because like I mean I watch a lot of Korean dramas, so like I'm used to reading subtitles, but with this one, there's so much going on that I felt like reading the subtitles, I was missing stuff that was happening. And so like it doesn't make it bad. It was just something where I was like, oh crap. Like, oh, I'm staring at this piece of the screen. I should probably be staring at these other things. That was something I noticed with it. It's probably one of the few times where I've been like, oh yeah, I need a dub. Because usually with live action, I try not to do a dub just because I can't get over the mouth movements. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that might be why I also went through it a little bit slower and had to go back and rewatch pieces.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing because like I also have to like I need to rewind that because I thought I missed something in the captions. So, and it's weird because I rather just read like the captions any day than listen to like an English dub over a live action because it'll just grate my nerves. I can't do it. It's like I tried to do it with the Full Metal Alchemist one when we watched it because we were live tweeting that one, and I still hate that choice. Just because it is terrible to watch with the English dub over it. It is just terrible. It's bad. Don't do it. But yeah, so yeah, that just to get the listeners some feedback. So yes, the live action adaptation is on Netflix. It is a 12-episode series, and it has, like Jeff mentioned, there are captions available in multiple languages, but there is no English dub, which is probably a godsend for that. Then, so for the most part, just going off of the episodes we watched, we can go from here. How do you guys think it did compare to the anime as far as like character design, like the story, like how as you know it?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Character design, I feel like most of them were spot on, which is, I was kind of worried about. Like the first time you see Reagan, he looks like what you think he should look like, but also like he has like this ashy wig that I'm not a fan of. But it does look like Reagan's hair, but it's also like, come on, bro, really? So that happened.
We found, sorry to interject, but we found in our live action anime adventures that there is always at least one terrible wig.
It is like our bingo card. It's the free space on the bingo card because we have yet, maybe wait. I think Lupin the Third is where I decided that all the wigs were perfect. But I'm biased because I love that movie. But my point is, 9 times out of 10, there will always be one bad wig. And Reagan has that is when you said ashy, that
it's a terrible wig. Like
terrible wig.
It's so bad. Because like one of the things about Reagan in the anime is like his hair is basically iconic. It's the first thing you see, and he's very much like, oh, there's Reagan with his weird spiky hair. So like to see that just it was like it was just very humid and it just fell over and then he picked it up off the ground and put it back. But like Mob looked like Mob, the other characters all felt like themselves. So that was cool. Dimple was weird. In giant buff man girl, like human form, which I'm sure you love. But
no.
Oh, you said
I said
sure you did.
Dimple looked so like weird, like surprisingly bad. To the point I was like, what's the budget for this? Because like, okay, I don't mean to be like a dick. But like,
no, this is the show to do this.
It's like 2019, and he looks like graphically like something out of Jumanji from like the first Jumanji. Like, doesn't look good. It's like King Shark on the Flash levels of that.
Yes,
it was. Thank you. Why would you put this character who you have like is such a focus of the scene? He looks so bad. Like, you'd have been better off just taking a really big buff dude and, like, Incredible Hulking him instead of, like, like a Lou Ferrigno style instead of this. Because it looked really bad. Like, when Mob puts his foot on his head, it looks like
it looks floating. So, on that note, I believe I've said it on the podcast many times. When I watch anime, every now and then Matt, my husband, walks into my room and walks out again after looking at the screen. That happened the first time Dimple became a thing. He just walked in and was like, "Nope, I'll ask you later." I was like, "I promise, it's research." Sorry, it was so bad. Like it was really bad. It was worse than live action Kakaguri, and live action Kakaguri is terrible, and this was worse.
Again, because I'm terrible with names. Kakaguri is the girl who's addicted to gambling, correct?
Yep.
I love this.
I watch so much anime, and if I don't see a logo, I have to like wait the name of that. If it's like Kakaguri or like Duradura or I gotta ask like descriptions.
I imagine you're pulling anime off the shelves like cans without labels, and you're just like, yeah, I'll watch this one.
That is in fact what she does.
Pretty much, that's me. But like to add on to like the Dimple thing, like y'all remember Slimer from the Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Slimer looked better than Dimple.
Yes.
Like from the 1984 Ghostbusters, Slimer looks so much better. And I was just trying to figure out how is this possible with our technology? Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know if it's because they just like it's that uncanny valley where like I don't know what I was expecting, but it just looked bad.
They must have had no budget.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Graphics wise, it looked horrible.
Yes.
And then it was like magnified by the fact that I was like, this is actually a terrifying thing and I don't want this. And it looks worse. So what I did is like, I haven't watched the anime, but I did look up all the characters so I could tell what they looked like in the anime. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, this is like far more disturbing. Not that it's not disturbing in the anime. He's a little bit disturbing there, but he's just like, it is terribly disturbing in the show. Like, oh, I think
the worst part about Dimple, and I mean humanoid Dimple, not like floaty ghost Dimple, but like the worst part about humanoid Dimple is not only does it look so bad, but also his body is so defined to the point where it's like, well, wait, what are you like? How does it look so bad, but also you've clearly put in this much? Like you can see the curve of every ab he has, and it's like I got scared because I was like, wait, is he gonna have a penis? Because I didn't want to see Dimple's penis. I didn't. And I was like, at least put some pants on. Because he looks like the Hulk. If the Hulk, like, if you took a layer off the Hulk, like, you took all
like
the
a Hulk Titan.
Hulk. Yeah. Like
if the
Hulk stunt double. Like, if you were filming Thor Ragnarok and then, like, the Hulk was like, I'm going to my trailer, like, Dimple would walk out and take the hit. It was bad.
It is bad. I mean, like, I always think of like Attack on Titan when there's that much detail and like that I find disturbing. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not that I'm not like turned off from like watching Attack on Titan, like scared, creeped out by that. But it's like one of those things where it's like a scab. It's like it looks gross and you want to pick at it, but you also know you shouldn't look at it.
Yeah.
So that's what Dimple reminded me of in this. They're just
gosh.
Sorry, is that too graphic of a description?
That is hilarious.
It's just, and in the anime, like there's the episodes where like he really hulks out, and like there's these textures they draw on his body that just like, oh god, like, and what is that thing called when people have a fear of holes? I don't have a fear of like cluster of holes.
Yeah.
Like tryptamine.
Yeah, tryptophobia.
Yes,
tryptophobia.
Yeah, I don't have that fear. I just like I get an itch when I see it, and it's just like, ugh, it's gross. But yeah, so I mean, so we got caught up on Dimple, but then as far as the other characters, yeah, I agree with you. Like they look like them.
Yeah.
Like pretty spot on job with like clothing, which is probably pretty basic. They're middle schoolers and uniforms, and I guess I should have looked up. I assume that these are just teenage actors, but they could totally be full-on adults.
Some of them look like adults. The fitness club was definitely adults.
What'd you say, Kate?
Sorry. It's like a super weird variance. Like some of them look like children, and other ones look like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm. True. Like I'm just gonna look it up real quick because I'm so prepared. I should have already had this.
Every person in that fitness club is a full-grown man.
Oh, yeah. The fitness club, everyone's grown. And also, them men, hey.
I am not surprised.
Duh. I just feel like I have to redeem myself because y'all trying to pair me up with Dimple. And I want to just rebuke you both.
I didn't try to pair you up with him. I just didn't defend you.
Thank you so much.
Worse.
I know. Thank you so much, friends.
I didn't throw you under the bus. I just didn't pull you out of the way.
Okay, so here's the IMDb. I just want to see like what's Mob's age at least. Okay. Mob is played by Tatsumi Hamada, who is 2000. He's 19 years old.
I thought you were going to say he was 2000.
I was like, what?
No. No. He was born in August 27th, 2000. So, teenager, technically.
He's a child.
He's a child. It's weird when I see people are born, like, younger than me, like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It's awkward. Ooh.
Like I had my own problems when you were born. I was a 10-year-old boy, like living life on the edge. No.
But yeah, I guess that can we can assume then everyone's kind of around that age then of young adults, teenagers. Because I imagine none of these people are middle
and full-grown
schoolers.
adults in the weightlifting club.
Well, in the anime, that's the weird thing too, because they're supposed to be middle schoolers.
Yeah.
And they look like full-on grown men running marathons every day. And just, I guess they allow these children to have supplements that the other children aren't getting. I don't know. But yeah, so besides that, I think they did a decent job with just the depicting the characters, costuming like that, besides Dimple making us all cringe. And then, so from there, how do you guys feel like it matched up with the story? Like overall, from what you saw again, from what we saw, and then overall from the story of Mob Psycho. I guess Jeff, because you've watched the anime series.
It was interesting because the pacing is very weird here. I felt like they start by giving you a lot of information that you don't need yet. Like they show all the group of the people with the scars to kind of tell you what an expert is, but I don't know that you need all that information yet. And they start with Mob instead of starting with Reagan, which I think is a mistake because Reagan is the one who hooks you. You're like, oh, this dude, what is this dude? Wait, oh, he's like an exorcist? Oh, that's interesting. And then you find out he's a fraud, and then Mob shows up and you're like, oh, this dude's an exorcist. And then it immediately shifts your focus as opposed to being like, okay, we're going to start with this unassuming boy. He's got powers, right? Isn't that cool? He built a fork. All right. Then you jump over it, or a spoon. Then you jump over to Reagan and he doesn't feel as important. So the pacing was interesting. They had when they had him join the spoilers, everyone. He joins the the weight training club or whatever. And it happens so quick that you don't have any time to see him really get that want. It's just oh, by the way, I want to join your club. Okay, weight training club. And then he's just tired, as opposed to in the anime, you earn that moment. And it's a really funny joke when he joins the weight training club because he makes it seem like he's going to join the other club, but there's no time for the payoff here. So it's just that's the thing too. I feel like a lot of the jokes don't translate. They're missing something, especially Reagan, because Reagan's really, really funny in the anime. He's one of the standouts because of that. When he's Saul, and they're and then now she's this is Reagan's special move, and you see how big of a fraud he is, who still believes in it. Yeah. And then in this, it's just hey, want a massage? Okay. Oh, that was a great massage. All right. The cost of a massage is this. Call it an exorcism, idiot. And then nothing's happening. I don't know. And I just feel like the comedy doesn't transfer over, and I don't know if that's because the pace is off because they're kind of rushing it.
That's a good point to make. No, I definitely agree because I did watch just so I could have a comparison going into it. I would decide to watch the anime first, and because it's 12 episodes, it was pretty easy to watch, and then go into the live action. I prefer them opening up with Reagan because the viewer actually think Reagan from the beginning. You think he's an actual exorcist.
Exactly.
You can only believe what he's telling his clients. So you're just oh, cool, he's an exorcist. And then you realize, no, he's actually a fraud. He was this pure, innocent cinnamon roll of a teenage boy. To do all of his exercises, his whole, the whole conversation with him telling, you need to be the stay-at-home, club. You need to just come here and work. Because it's Reagan is, a good impression on Mob, but also a terrible impression on Mob because he's just, he's using him. And that at the end of the day, he cares about Mob. I mean, that still is something I question sometimes. So, does he really care about Mob, or does he just care that Mob helps him pay the bills?
As you do with most anime mentor-mentee relationships.
You're not wrong. That's another bingo box. A mentor uses a child for their benefit. Check. Yeah. So that's but then you said with a lot of the humor with Reagan, I like Reagan so much more in the anime.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of that ashy wig that I just can. That man just annoys me. I'm just like, oh my god, he's like really creeping me out with this wig, and like all the creepy things. Reagan is creepy on a level like the whole things like giving a massage in order to like exercise people, like how he does it on the woman in the live action. I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I was watching the live action, because I didn't have the anime as like a base, it was weird because I was like, is this guy supposed to be a main character? What's happening? Why don't I like him? What is happening? Who is he? I was just very confused. So now that you're saying that, I feel like I just need to go watch the anime.
Yes, please.
Yeah. I think that's like the case here. It's just like Reagan did not translate well to live action, but it's just like anime Reagan, I like him like as a character. Like you like him so much more. I mean, granted, he still like has his faults and he's not a perfect mentor for Mob, but I mean, in ways he is. But like the comedy stuff, like him being silly, like the throwing the salt, like that whole thing, like in the first episode of just like him throwing salt to get a ghost to go away and him realizing like, shoot, it's not blessed. So it doesn't work. And him being exposed, him basically being dragged and exposed as a fraud by people and then having to call it Mob. It's just, I preferred the cold opening of like, you think the show is about Reagan, but it's actually about Mob.
Yeah, because it starts and you're like, oh, this is the main character? Oh, okay, I see what the show is. That's so got powers. And then immediately it's like, nope. He is 100% fake, and he is hiding behind this little boy. So
exactly,
that immediately gives you like, you're like, well, how did these two even like meet? How are they? So why does he work for him? He's putting on this charade that like he's super powerful and Mob isn't aware. So you're like, well, this can only go on for so long. So it immediately gives you so many questions that you're like hooked. Whereas like, here it's just like, oh, here's this dude. I guess he works for him. He's making them bring him takoyaki. All right, cool. And that's kind of the extent. And I feel like Reagan is he's such a big character that hooks you. And this Reagan doesn't feel like that. He just feels like a guy who's like excitable and has an ashy wig and just is there, you know? He doesn't live up to the Reagan in the anime.
Yeah.
I agree. So yeah, Kate, don't feel bad about not liking him at all.
I was confused by him. I was like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, especially because like it jumps around between like Reagan at the office and then Mob at school, Mob at his club, and then all this other stuff. And I think that's just because, and I guess one other thing that I didn't care for is Mob being so focused on, what's her name? Takane?
Yeah.
In the live action, where it's not that he isn't focused on her in the anime. It's just that like that's a very, I guess, secondary thing where it's like they made it like they have so much interaction. It's not like it's a bad thing, but it is just kind of like I would have preferred if it was just like in the anime where they don't interact at all, and then like lead that up into the second season like it's good, like it looks like it's going to be.
I completely agree with that. It felt like they were trying so hard to make it seem like, oh, well, this kid, he can have it all. He can have the girl of his dreams. He just has to get buff. And like, that's not the message.
No.
At all. And I think to your point about them being so many locations, that's another reason why I feel like you don't get who Mob and Reagan are to each other, because you don't have enough time with them together. The second episode in the anime is them like going to an exorcism in like basically like a tunnel, and it's just the two of them, and you can kind of learn more about them and their relationship. In this, you don't know what the relationship is, because he's like, I gotta be at work at 4:30, and she's like, join my club, and then he joins the sports club, and he's just at the sports club, and it's like, wait, did he not go to work? Like, what's happening?
And then it's also just like, I don't know, and maybe it's because I skipped one of the episodes. I don't think we have the flashback of when he and Reagan meet, and then like at all. And I'm sorry, what?
That's disappointing if that's the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
And I was just kind of, I was very confused.
That's
Very
fine.
confused.
I think it's fine because you went in like totally fresh, like clear eyes. But like, so the flashback I'm referring to is when Mob, he's like, I guess, an elementary school kid at this point. And he goes to Reagan and he goes to him and like comes to him because he sees an ad and tells him like, I have psychic powers. I don't know how to control them. I'm scared I'm gonna hurt somebody. Basically, like I'm paraphrasing, but like he says all of this to Reagan and he's hoping that Reagan can help him. Reagan doesn't believe he's psychic, like that he's an Esper or anything. Reagan just thinks he's like, what are you talking about, kid? Like, sure, whatever, like just buzz off. But then like I think Mob shows him his powers. And then Reagan believes him. But then Reagan like very quickly reminds him that like, well, here's an important thing to remember. Just because you have psychic powers does not make you any more important than anybody else. So and that gets ingrained in Mob to the point where like that's like how he just lives his life, where he doesn't think of himself as being better than anybody else or being like special in a sense because he has these powers. He doesn't develop a god complex. Because he has special powers. I mean, his parents, which I just have to say, the parents suck.
The parents do suck.
They suck. They suck from the anime, and they suck here. Yeah. Of just like, I told you to stop bending those spoons. I'm like, get your child some help, man. Yeah.
Right? I was like, so when that happened, she's like, your younger brother doesn't drop your food. I'm like, really, lady?
Right. Oh, and it's like they literally not beat him up, but like comparing him to like his younger brother so much. And I think in this, like Ritsu is on the sports team and he's on the student counselor. Why can't you? Yeah. Like, why can't you be just like your younger brother? I'm like, dear God, your son has psychic powers and he's stressed and he needs help. Get him some help. But no. That doesn't happen. So just like in all anime, there's bad parents also. Shocker.
I mean, the scene that you're mentioning too, the flashback scene, is important for two reasons too. Because first time you see it, it's veiled, and you just hear the advice where he's like, just remember that you have powers, but you're not better than anyone else, you know? And it's a very like poignant moment. And they frame it like it's coming from his dad. Because you don't see who says it. It's very much like, this is the lesson you need to learn. I am here to help you. So then later, when it's like, wait, you learned that from Reagan? It's such a huge reveal because it tells you so much about Reagan. And it also tells you how much Mob respects him by like literally being willing to die instead of not using his powers because he doesn't want to. Yeah. You know, it's very like, it's so layered and good. So to take that out, if they did, it's baffling.
It kind of hurts their like relationship. In the like, it really hurts the relationship in live action because we just look at Reagan as like this goofy guy, like he's somewhat of a mentor, not the best mentor, but also not the worst in Mob's life. But it like I think having that scene in the anime made me realize, well, Reagan does really actually care about Mob and like doesn't want him to have to use his powers in situations that he should know to like lean on an adult. And that Reagan has made himself that adult in Mob's life when there's like a problem and to not use violence when it's not necessary. So he's actually like giving Mob like legit life skills here where he doesn't have to rely on his powers for everything. But then like, so spoilers, we can kind of talk about like, you already mentioned another thing that kind of threw off the live action is like them introducing the people with the scars. I don't know what that organization is called. But yeah. Kate, for your
I was like again, I was confused. I feel like I'm not talking a lot, but it's really just because I'm very confused and I'm letting you all unpack this for me so I can go watch the anime and be saved.
That is a pleasure to do all this for you, to unpack it for you. But yeah, so in the anime, there's this like secret organization of Espers where they recruit people to be a part of their organization and like use them for their powers. And do evil, psychic stuff. I think that is it. And I guess because like they've had their eyes on Mob. And like eventually, I'm not gonna like detail the whole thing. Eventually, Mob and his brother find themselves captive, or like they're trying to find themselves they're in the facility because Mob goes and rescues his younger brother, who they took there because at this point, his younger brother also has found out that he has psychic powers. Dun dun dun. Kate, I know you don't care about spoilers. Y'all know what
Nope.
kind of show this is on this show if you've been listening to us, so it's fine. So that's something, and then one of the climactic parts in that that also happened in the live action is Reagan shows up.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, not to cut. I apologize for cutting you off too.
Oh no, you're good.
Just that when he shows up, it's such a huge moment in the anime because the way they frame it is like, oh shit, it's the boss, and like the episode ends, and it's such a like, oh man, this is a hell of a cliffhanger they've been building, and then the next episode immediately unsets that. So I am curious how they handled that in the live action, since I didn't watch that episode.
Would you like to know?
Please.
It's the same thing.
Is it done well?
It is done. I will let you be the judge if it's done well, but again, it's okay giving you more information. So the way the episode in the anime reveals itself is that they keep saying the boss is coming, like the boss of the secret psychic organization. So then the preview is, and which kind of pissed me off because I believed it.
Yes.
They frame it as Reagan shows up, steps out of this limo car, and you find, and then the voiceover for the promo is like, "Hey Mob, I'm here." And then they kind of frame it where you think that Reagan is secretly the boss of this organization and that he's been faking it this whole time, but he's really not.
He's just faking it more.
He is fake it till you make it. Yes, it's more cringy in the live action one just because it's this guy in this ashy wig, but in the anime, in the anime it's more well done because the guy he just walks in, strolls in he owns the place. I'm here to pick up my apprentice. And everyone's like, are you the boss? He's like, yeah, I'm his boss. And then all these characters are just believing him, oh my God, you're the boss of the organization. Here, let us help you. Let's give you access to this top secret facility and walk you through this whole place.
It's so good. It's done so well. And it's such a great fake out too.
It is.
They lead you down the path of oh, he's the boss. Wait, that's why he's been keeping an eye on Mob this whole time. It's just no, he's just talking shit.
You definitely think that at this point, this is a huge reveal that Reagan is evil or whatever reason. I started cussing out Reagan in my head. I'm like, you son of a bitch. I knew you were no good. And then come to find out that he's just literally coincidentally faked his way to get to Mob to rescue him. And so there's that. But then in the climax, Jeff, you kind of referenced it already, where they're in a position where they need Mob to fight. They keep telling him you have to get it together, man. We need you to fight all out and be serious about this in order for us to escape and get out of here alive. And Mob is literally having a mental breakdown of whether he should fight or not. He's stressing out. He looks like he's almost having a panic attack. And it's Reagan who keeps who tells him it's okay to run away. It's okay to be scared. Reagan's reassuring him, I'm the adult here. I'll solve a problem without violence and all this other stuff. And Reagan's trying to reassure him. And I'm just I just wish we got to have that emotional connection to the relationship. And it was not done well here.
Yeah, I mean, with that relationship being so strong in the show, I the more I think about it, the more baffling it is that they didn't start with a glimpse of that. To start with just Mob, or to start with Mob and his brother, or to start with Mob at school is inherently stupid. If you know where the show is supposed to end up, and if you have that source material laid out, I don't understand why you change it and try to make it a love story. It's not like his love interest is going to come up and save the day at the end. So
that's not how it is in the anime?
He has a crush on the girl, but the amount of times you saw her and the amount of times they interacted in this live action does not happen in the first season.
No. He interacts more with the girl in the psychic club than he does with. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the thing where it's I feel the same way about the show where the tone of the show is not about Mob falling in love and living out his youthful years as a regular kid. It's part of it is Mob trying to, I guess he thinks of it as improving himself, without using his psychic powers. Like, that's why he joins the fitness club, because he feels like he'll become popular and like he'll be well liked and everything. But then also it's that I feel like the deeper part of it is the relationship him and Reagan have, but then also the relationship with his brother and him.
Yeah.
Like the relationships Mob has throughout the show, I think are more of the point, like the bigger parts of the show than just like how they were trying to make it seem like, oh, he's doing all this to win the affection of a girl.
Yeah, no. That's the thing they really like. I don't understand how they messed that message up so much, because so much of the show too is like seeing how much he cares for people and his empathy, and that's what pushes him. Whether it's like him trying to, like, people trying to goad him into fighting and it doesn't work, but seeing like, you know, the thing that happens to his brother or to Reagan or to other people he cares about, being like, him using those emotions as strength and not fearing them is a message that he kind of learns throughout the series. So to just put all of his emotions into, I like this girl, I want to be popular, is so backwards.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it is. It just doesn't. It doesn't get like the character that is Mob across as well as like the anime does. As far as like, because like when you meet him, it's like he's just a polite little quiet boy who doesn't think of himself as better as anybody else, but he's actually like this god tier. Like, I was about to say mutant because I'm thinking of X-Men, but like you get the point. Like, he could literally reshape reality.
Yeah.
Like that opening scene, I think it is the first episode where it's like there's a psychic battle going on. Like,
Yes.
it's beautifully animated. I'm like, there's no way they would have had the budget for that. But if there was a way to just like do that dream sequence and like just open how it was in the anime, I think that would have like set up some tone there, because I don't think Mob's identity isn't revealed in that sequence.
Yeah,
at
you
all.
don't know who it is. And so the first time you see Reagan, you're like, oh, well, this must be the guy. It's just another, like, the anime does such a good job of like stringing you along and making you think you have the answers and then pulling the rug from under you.
Yep, it does. But yeah, I definitely just like, I feel like a lot of the story and a lot of the heart of the show is like just not delivered with the live action as well as the anime. But who knows what people were thinking.
I'm just so sad because I'm just like, or not sad. I'm like I'm kind of happy because like everything that you said is in the anime is everything that I felt I was missing from watching this live action. So I'm actually really excited to go watch the anime now.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, I would love to just come back and talk to you about it after you watched it. It's so good.
We should just make that a bonus show. Like, okay, we've watched live action. Now let's go watch the anime.
It's on the Patreon, like up there with your like thirst.
That could be it. That could be a thing. I was gonna add one more thing. Oh, so yeah, we kind of done the whole comparison thing. So let's go ahead and get to. Oh, Kate, I just want to make sure, Kate, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, I was just very confused, and now I know that I was confused for a reason, and that I should just go watch the anime.
If it helps, this is how I felt when I watched that. Dang it, I'm losing my anime cred right now. The anime with the people racing the cars.
Fast and Furious.
Speed Racer?
What did you say, Kate?
Speed Racer?
Not Speed Racer. No. The one where it's like, it's set in the 90s.
Oh, Initial D.
Initial D. Thank you.
They were not racing the cars, ma'am. They were drifting.
Sorry, drifting the cars.
That sounds like Fast and the Furious to me.
It is basically Fast and Furious before.
Specifically.
That is a previous episode we dove into that it had the potential to be like Fast and the Furious, but it did not happen for them. Yeah, I think that could have been like.
It was the potential to be Fast and the Furious. It was around before Fast and the Furious.
That's what I'm saying. It had the potential to like have that same franchise, like because there was so much. Gotcha. There's so much content. No, like it can't. So it predates Fast and the Furious, and it has all this content that it could have been like the Fast and the Furious, like franchise before they came along. But then
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is literally a rip of Initial D.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, which I have to say I liked Initial D better than Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
You like Initial D better than a movie that had Little Bow Wow in it?
I know.
I'm not let anyone shit on Tokyo Drift because the Teriyaki Boys are my favorite, and I love that movie. So
I'm not shitting on it because the only thing I liked about it was Han. That boy from Atlanta or wherever, his accent was killing me.
Yeah, he did not know where his accent was from.
He did not. And so I'm sorry. So here's my only, I'm getting off base, but my point is, my problem with Tokyo Drift is I'm annoyed by the main character and they never come back. And I'm just like, what was the point of this movie? Except for Han. And that's it.
So remake Tokyo Drift, but with a white dude?
Sure.
And Bow Wow.
And Bow Wow. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I got off like my rage for this episode. Okay. So Kate was confused. Jeff and I just feel like there was not enough heart in the show. But let's say something nice. Was there anything we liked about the live action? I know it's gonna take some.
It got so quiet.
I actually liked the way they made Mob look visually. I thought that was really well done. I liked his hair. I thought it was because I feel like the way Mob looks in the anime, from what I looked up and everything, like I feel like that could be hard to replicate in live action, but I think they did a good job.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I liked that they kept the awkwardness of Hanazawa's fight moves, of him like how he turns his legs inward to like do. And I don't think it was ever explained in the anime why he does that, but I like that they leaned into the awkwardness of that.
I love when anyone goes to the effort of giving people different fight stances. Because I feel like in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're gonna fight, and it's just two people squaring up. That's the extent of fight stances. So the first time someone was like, "Yo, Vegeta stands different from how Goku stands when he fights," I was like, "Oh shit!"
And then they talk with each other for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, we love our fave. We love to drag our fave. Oh, no, that is a good one.
I'm still thinking.
Take your time. There is like I think we kind of said it. Like costume design was pretty good overall.
Yeah,
It's okay if you don't have something you like. Also, I should have mentioned that.
No, I want to find something so that I don't feel as bad. I liked. Damn, I didn't even. I wish they had brought the theme song over from the anime. It's a good theme song. I liked how Reagan's wig it brought us a lot of fun in this conversation. I liked Reagan's wig because it was so bad it was good.
There you go. Good job. You found something.
You can cut the hour that I stammered.
No, I think it's worth putting in there just because, like, there's just sometimes, I think when we did Dragon Ball Evolution, I was just like, I don't know. I can't. I'm like, I decided on Chi-Chi, and that was it. Like, Chi-Chi fighting, and that was it, because I hate everything else absolutely to the max on that entire movie.
I never watched it. I just know Piccolo's yellow and something.
Yeah, don't ever watch it. Do yourself a favor and don't ever watch that. You love yourself too much. Don't do that.
Oh God.
You don't deserve any of that like terrible movie in your life. I'm jealous you haven't watched it, honestly. So then on to what did we not like?
The show.
I was waiting. I was waiting for it.
Jeff, you fit in so well here.
Oh,
thank you. I think we need to have like an open door policy for Jeff. Like, I like this.
I'm down.
You get
I'm
us.
down.
Yeah, you get us.
I mean, he shipped you with Dimple, so I'm good.
That is not happening. I'm gonna edit that out.
Are you though?
No, I'm too lazy. No, but can we make that a new thing? Y'all just ship me with the character each episode.
I mean, I feel like I already do that.
This is true. And I do this for myself, so it's fine.
So what we could do is we could start putting a poll out there, like, which character from this show would you ship Neysha with this episode?
Yes, I like that. I with power. I love that.
Fine, I approve it. We'll start. We'll put one out this week for this episode.
Ashley Reagan.
This is gonna go bad. This is gonna go terribly wrong.
Ashley Reagan. What else can we?
Can I get one of the weightlifting guys?
That's fine.
Can I get the one who's in charge?
I'm gonna research this and I get back to you.
Oh God, what have I done? Okay, on to me for what I did not like. In a world where we've had like a bunch of X-Men movies and people have displayed their psychic powers, I just feel like, and I understand budget and I understand restrictions, but I just feel like some of it was most of it was bad.
Yeah.
Like maybe the scene where like he stops the ball, like the Takoyaki ball from like falling.
But even the way Reagan eats it looks so bad and fake.
That's what's bad. That's what looks bad is like when he puts it in his mouth, when he like floats it into his mouth, it's weird. But it's like, I don't like, that was one of the things I was kind of looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like throughout the series. And like, oh, like, you know, we've had a bunch of X-Men movies and there's been a bunch of special effects movies for all the time with like psychic powers. Surely this will be like really good to see. No. And I was wrong.
I will say the one scene that bugged me the most was when there's a scene where Reagan is going to exercise a photo in Photoshop. And it's like, time to exercise a photo in Photoshop. And he starts typing on the keyboard. And I'm like,
that's not Photoshop.
What are you doing? Why does this hurt me like it does?
Because the like graphic designer in you is just like cringing.
So no one on that crew was like, actually, Photoshop, you use the mouse.
I want to say that like I want to say there's certain parts throughout like the filming and the production of this where they were just like, just leave it in, we can't reshoot. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Kate. Did I cut you off?
No, you did not.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. But yeah, I feel like that had to be a case with this live action series. It's just like there just had to be some stuff that they had to leave in because of time, or I don't know, the actor who was playing Reagan didn't know you should use a mouse instead of your keyboard.
No one wanted to embarrass him by correcting him.
You're not a good director if you don't correct your actors. I'm just saying.
He corrected it. Yeah. No, you didn't. The other thing I just want to mention is for a show that's like very much about like cool powers and psychic and like other people having powers and like fights and stuff, it's absurd that they waited till episode 3 to have a fight.
Yes.
It's so long to be like, okay, here's this kid, he's super powerful. Watch an hour of him just doing shit before he finally fights someone.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's another problem with that is because like we don't get like Mob's scale of power.
Yeah.
As early. Like, I mean, I can't remember like in the anime, maybe I should just go rewatch the first season again, which I would not dread doing. It's just like you get the sense that Mob is very powerful early on. Yeah. And like, I mean, we assume that like having seen the first episode and then you see like that whole opening sequence with like this huge psychic battle going on, that and of course the show being about him, that he's super powerful. But then in the live action, they just focus it so much on him wanting to be popular and like get with the girl of his dreams that it loses sight of like it being like there are a lot of psychic battles.
Yeah. It's literally like the scale of his power is I can bend a spoon, I can catch a falling takoyaki, I can fight a big ass ghost. Like it's just all over the place.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
true.
would love to put I can fight a big ass ghost on my resume. You know what I'm saying?
I'll put it on my Twitter profile after this.
I can fight a big ass ghost. Do it. You're hired. But yeah, that's a good point. Just like going back to like there's just like we don't get a scale of power really until like much later even. And it's just I don't know. Like I think a huge part of the anime is the psychic battles. That's what makes it like super like really good. But,
I agree.
Yeah. So we've said what we liked. We've said what we hate. Now we have to answer the question: did they have to?
I'm assume no. I feel like I can't say it because I haven't seen the original, the anime. But I will say this: like after attempting to watch Kakegurui and another one, like I just don't think these live action anime shows work at all, especially when the material is like this.
I think you're right because like the only one I've seen besides like this one now, because I honestly don't want to see Kakegurui the live action because I realized like watching the anime of how awkward a lot of the scenes are going to be. But it's like Erased, I think was it was done well, but then it also takes a hard left. But like I agree with you. There's just like some of these live action series, some of them are just not meant to be live action series.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I don't know, like Jeff, you mentioned it, like is it the pacing? And like I mean saying this as like you're someone who is a writer and like you work like I don't know how much involved you are like with pacing as far as like episodes, but like I feel like that's something that from taking 12 episodes and then that are animated, but then also taking those episodes and turning them into a live action now, it just seems that it's not always going to translate well.
Yeah, I don't know what it was other than like someone just being like, "Oh, we need more love stories in it," because the pacing's so weird. Like everything about it, like you see that weird like cult plays in like the second episode. I think that's like episode 4 or like at least 3. So that right there, you've eliminated an entire episode of story and relationships, especially between Mob and Reagan. So I just don't. It's so they did not need to make this show, and it's evidenced by the fact that there's a perfectly great anime right there, and then they were like, it feels like honestly, it feels like a fan made thing. It feels like a thing I'd see on YouTube, and I'd be like, oh, those graphics aren't terrible because it's on YouTube. But then when I'm like, oh, this is on Netflix, and this is like a thing, like somebody paid to put this on Netflix. So like, where's that money going?
That is a really good point that I keep forgetting about. It's like this is like promoted as a Netflix original.
If you can ask yourself, what would this look like if cosplayers did it? And the answer is probably not much different. Maybe don't make it.
Maybe better because
better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because cosplayers know how to make wigs.
Yes, I am literally Googling a Reagan cosplay right now to see how much better it looks than this guy.
I would like to see that. I
will share it. Oh my God, they're so good.
Oh wow, these are.
Yeah, I would type it on my keyboard, but it's so loud. I'd look on my phone, but they're so
they
much
are
better.
good. They're so much better.
Those wigs are incredible.
That is a Party City wig, and they knew how to work with a Party City wig. Oh, Jesus. Well, to add my points, yes, this did not have to happen. And I just don't know if it goes back down to like all the things we've said of just like the pacing and then just the heart of the show of like of the anime not translating well, because they switch some things around and like the focus of it just it changes it all. And I don't like that we don't get that connection between Reagan and Mob like we do in the anime, because it's a huge part of the show. Instead, they focus so much on him wanting to be popular and be in love that that can come later. But yeah, so I also say they did not have to. And lastly, what would we rate this? And get Jeff, if you're not familiar, we rate by how much alcohol we would have to drink to get through this. Not literally. So
Okay.
like no one is endangering themselves, but like we go from 1 to 10. 1 being perfect, or 0 to 10. So 0 being perfect and 10 being, oh my God, I have alcohol poisoning because it's so bad.
No, go ahead, Kate.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna give it a 7. I feel like I need to be fairly drunk to understand what is happening in this narrative as it stands.
And you watched more than all of us.
Yeah, because I was confused, Jeff. When you're confused, you just keep going and hope that maybe it gets better.
That is true. Sometimes you just keep going, like maybe it'll turn. Maybe there'll be a turn.
But at the very least, from hearing y'all talk about the anime, I feel like I'm going to not need any alcohol to watch that. So that's good.
Good. So for me, I'm gonna give it an 8. Again, just pacing, and I just did not care for like the focus shifting from Mob like wanting to better himself without using his powers, but then also wanting to like explore a normal life, to Mob being obsessed with a girl, and like other things from the anime series happen along the way. But it just, yeah, an 8. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Okay, so I don't drink, and I've never drank, so my tolerance would be exceedingly low. And still, I'm gonna say a 9, because it is a chore to get through this show. And I watched it last night, and I was like I put it off because I was like, and then like I got to the point where I was like, well, I have to watch it now, or I'll have to show up and like have not watched it. So I watched it, and my fiance was on the couch playing Stardew Valley, and it was like I was just like complaining to no one because she wasn't listening to me. I was like, why is this happening? Why you're not even in this episode? Why are you here? And like I think it's harder because I just watched the anime so recently that I can remember how it should be, and the juxtaposition of like, oh, this what y'all doing was it hit me hard. So I gotta be like friggin' like New Year's Eve liquored up to get through this show.
That is a great description of like how like hard you'd have to be to watch it again. Which I'm sorry I put you through this.
No, it's fine. It was worth it. It was worth it to hang out with you guys.
Aw.
Yes. Aw, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, you can come back anytime.
Oh.
You just have to be prepared to watch, you know, a possibly terrible live action.
Yeah, I was like, so to be fair, we've actually watched quite a few really good like Japanese live action of anime, but they have been fairly few in between.
Yeah.
But we haven't had like 10s across the board all the time. So that's been
Yeah, I think like I could pick like my top 3 ones we've watched, and I could say like I could definitely throw some at people, like watch the Lupin the Third one, watch, you know, we decided, I think you love Speed Racer. It's okay in my book.
I don't love Speed Racer. I just don't think it's the trash fire that everybody says that it is.
I kid. But no, our point is like I think we've come across that like not all live actions are terrible. There's some that like actually have, you know, the ability to be good series.
Like the Rurouni Kenshin live action is phenomenal.
Yes. And we get to watch 2 more of those.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that. There's like stuff like that, like Blade of the Immortal, where like it's not bad, but then also there's a lot going on. So it's like it ranges where it's like you find a live action and then you like it, but then also like because character design and everything, but then also if the pacing is off, that can mess it up also. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I don't regret this at all.
You don't regret coming on the show, or you don't regret watching this series?
I don't regret coming on this show.
Okay.
I have other regrets about other things that are related to the show, like my time management. But yeah, this was cool. I would love to pitch you guys an idea. It has nothing. It doesn't work, but I'm just gonna say it because it's goofy.
Go for it.
How into watching Tiger Mask W would you guys be, and then watching a live actual Tiger Mask match with that guy?
I'd be so down for that.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, again, I am a guest with no power, but if you guys wanted to do that, I'd be down for it.
I would definitely be down for that. That sounds really cool. We need to get that in the books.
Yep. I was just about to say, like, write that down. We're going to add that. Because the Anime-Sode, there we go.
Yep.
It works.
Okay.
Which, yeah, for y'all who don't know what Anime-Sodes are, it's just an excuse that me and Kate came up with to put out more episodes. But, like, to have little discussions. But yeah, so with that, Jeff, would you mind telling the people where they can find you if you want to be found?
You can find me at Mr. Jeff Trammell on Twitter. That's the only place to find me. I am not on Instagram. I am on Facebook, but I will not add you. It even says in my bio, please don't add me if you don't know me, and people still do it. So
that is actually really terrifying.
I feel like no one reads it. You know, I don't know. I don't mean to be like a dick. If you listen to this and you were like, that guy's funny, I want to follow him. Who am I to tell you what to do? Please follow me on Twitter only.
That's not being a dick. That's having boundaries, like a responsible adult. So don't feel bad.
I've definitely had a dude like drop his Facebook group, like tweet his Facebook group at me for like comics talk. I was like, yeah, I'm not getting in that. You're gonna see my Facebook, and I'm not doing that. Nope.
Boundaries.
Too personal.
Mm-hmm. And Kate, where can they find you?
Well, they can find us, the podcast, at DYHD_pod on Twitter. Come talk to us. Tell us your favorite animes. Tell us your favorite anime and emoji. That's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
And rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you're listening. It really helps people find us, helps get those numbers up, and helps build out our community. And you can find me at OhMyMythRandier on Twitter. Neysha?
And you can find me also on Twitter at LA_NEY_SHA. And with that, who are Jeff and Kate going to ship me with next? Will I regret letting them ship me with random characters from anime? I'm
so sorry for cutting you off. I didn't realize you were doing a thing, and I feel bad. But I was going to say, if we do that wrestling thing, the ships are only going to be like hot wrestlers.
This is good.
Yay! Yay!
Okay, I didn't interrupt you.
Okay,
I into the shadows, Homer Simpson.
You're good. And lastly, will we ever find a wig ashier than Reagan's? Find out next time on Did You Have To? Bye.